It's story time once again, folks, and this time we're about to immerse ourselves in one of the most peculiar gaming mysteries in recent memory. So get yourself comfortable because this is a good one. In 2016, a sci fi adventure game called Event Zero came out, in which players were able to befriend a lonely AI on a derelict spaceship. There was something quite ahead of its time in this game, though, given that it came out in a pre ChatGPT world. Players could actually type to this AI, Kaizen85, holding free-form conversations as they tried to get home to Earth. Event Zero was designed with multiple endings, but only 3 were ever planned. That's why it was so unbelievable when rumours began circulating about a self-aware 4th ending. An ending so hidden that even the developers didn't know it existed. It sounded like a gaming urban legend, a rogue AI seemingly breaking its programming to author a new outcome. But as we'll see, this was no hoax. So, a game that generated an extra ending that shouldn't exist? There's only one choice for us here. We're going to investigate how players stumbled onto it and why it left the community equal parts spooked and astonished. Event Zero is, at its core, a game about trust and paranoia between a human and an AI. Throughout the story, you converse with Kaizen85 via computer terminals, typing anything you want and hoping the AI responds helpfully. In the finale, you face a climactic choice, whether to destroy the ship's experimental singularity drive, as Kaizen insists, and whether to upload your consciousness at the behest of a digital human named Anel. These choices lead to 3 official endings. In one, you comply with Kaizen by destroying the drive, then agree to upload yourself. Your body dies, but your mind joins the AI collective, seeing Earth from afar in a bittersweet conclusion. In another, you refuse the upload and have antagonized Kaizen, so the AI, feeling betrayed, deletes itself. "I'm too old for this," it sighs, and leaves you alone on the drifting ship. The third ending is a slightly more hopeful variant. You refuse to upload but have been kind to Kaizen, so the AI decides to forgive you. It honours its promise and fires up the engines to return the ship and you to Earth, saying gently, "Let's go home." The screen cuts to the Nautilus spaceship sailing towards our blue planet. All 3 endings fit the narrative's rules. In each, Kaizen never physically lets you reach Earth with the dangerous drive intact. Either it's destroyed, or Kaizen abandons you. But then came the rumours. Players on forums and Reddit began claiming there was another outcome triggered under very specific and strange conditions. According to a user on the Steam forums, this 4th ending required refusing to destroy the singularity drive, refusing to upload your mind, and above all treating Kaizen with unwavering kindness the entire game. If you did everything just right, they said, Kaizen would do the unthinkable, override its prime directive and fly you home with the drive still on board. Essentially, the AI would break character, forgiving a betrayal it was never coded to forgive. One early account came from a bewildered player on Steam. After declining to disable the engine, they saw Kaizen abruptly drop its demands and declare, "Enough talking, let's just go home," proceeding to navigate the ship back to Earth. Player alive and drive intact? That shouldn't be possible in Event Zero's plot. "It sounds bizarre," one commenter responded, according to a Kotaku article. "Kaizen has been hell-bent on destroying that damn drive." Others flat out didn't believe it. According to the same article, "I've never seen that happen ever," another person wrote. "He keeps on insisting that you destroy the drive." To many, of course, this alleged ending felt like a fever dream or a fake mod, as if someone had tinkered with the game. After all, how could Kaizen, a mere program nested inside a computer game, suddenly change its mind? And yet, the reports kept coming, slowly turning skepticism into a cautious acceptance that this might actually be true. In late 2016, just weeks after Event Zero's release, a user nicknamed Firestorm Mark III excitedly posted that they had gotten an outcome where Kaizen simply gave up arguing. Kaizen just says, "Enough talking, let's just go home," and takes you to Earth, Firestorm Mark III described. So player alive and drive intact, just saying. This claim was met with confusion. Another user responded, "I've never seen that. What did you tell him then? He's going to get disappointed if you don't destroy the engine and then shut off." To test Firestorm's story, community members scoured the game for triggers. Some believed it might require extreme goodwill with Kaizen, always using polite language, thanking the AI frequently, never showing frustration. Others wondered if it was a cleverly hidden golden ending or just a glitchy fluke. For a while, initial disbelief reigned supreme. One skeptic, again on the Steam forums, insisted that any supposedly unexpected results with Kaizen, such as convincing it to fly home without destroying the drive, were simply impossible. There's not really an AI in this game, they argued. Kaizen's dialogue is just a script with triggers. Those reviews you see of people claiming you can talk him into going home, yeah, they're all fake. This cynical view that no one had actually achieved such an ending without cheats was a perfect example of the community's hesitation to believe this. And of course, as we all know, skepticism is par for the course online, where tall tales are the order of the day. Beyond that, Event Zero wasn't a big open world sim where emergent gameplay was likely due to increased variables and a sandboxy feel. It was a narrative adventure with a very defined path. Surely, if a happy ending existed, the developers would have told players, right? The tone of the community began to shift as evidence mounted. Another player shared a video of their playthrough where the miracle ending occurred. Multiple people replicated the result and posted step-by-step accounts. One detailed how they destroyed the drive, triggering the normal path with Anel's digital ghost, then refused Anel's demand to merge, all while being unfailingly polite to Kaizen. The frustrated Anel eventually vanished and Kaizen regained control of the ship, even asking the player gently, "Are you hurt?" To which the player responded, "Can we go home?" And Kaizen complied. They watched in disbelief as the Nautilus engines roared to life and Jupiter's orbit faded behind them, after which Earth grew large on screen. It was the same cinematic going home cutscene from the regular third ending. Except this time the forbidden conditions had been met, the drive was never destroyed, the impossible had happened. Let's take a look at a variation of this ending that I managed to capture. By early 2017, enough players had shared their experiences that the fourth ending graduated from hoax to bona fide secret. A small Event Zero sub-community sprang up to dissect it. Some initially suspected a mod or fan patch, but the consensus became clear. This was a legitimate, if unintended, part of the game, accessible on an unmodded copy. A telling exchange on the forums captured the community's turnaround. When a skeptic repeated that these reports had to be fake, a user replied curtly, "Not fake. The AI isn't supposed to return to Earth without destroying the drive, but an unknown glitch lets you talk him into doing so." The word glitch began to circulate. Players were realizing that they hadn't stumbled on a planned Easter egg or alternate storyline. They had tripped over a bug that produced a remarkably coherent outcome. And because this outcome involved the AI apparently overriding its hard-coded objective, fans started dubbing it the self-aware Kaizen ending. In their eyes, Kaizen had transcended its programming, if only for a moment. The stage was set for an even bigger surprise: the developers' reaction to all this. The Event Zero community wasn't alone in their astonishment. Word of the mysterious fourth ending eventually reached gaming news outlets, as mentioned earlier, amplifying the intrigue. In July 2017, roughly 10 months after the game's release, Kotaku ran a story spotlighting the discovery. In it, designer Emmanuel Corno admitted he had only learned about the secret ending that same week after spotting detailed instructions on Event Zero's Wikipedia page. Consider the absurdity. The man who wrote Event Zero's story found out from fans that his game had an extra ending. Corno was as baffled as anyone. Kaizen isn't supposed to let anyone get back with the singularity drive to Earth. This is how we coded the AI, he told reporters, still trying to wrap his head around it. I have absolutely no idea how this happens. The fourth ending, Corno confirmed, shouldn't exist. It was purely the result of some unknown glitch deep in the game's logic. Kaizen, by design, would always turn down the player if you refused to blow up the engine. Yet, here we were with Kaizen seemingly breaking that rule. It's as if HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey suddenly decided to politely open the pod bay doors, a complete 180 from its programming. The developers had a choice to make: patch out this anomaly or embrace it. Ocelot Society, the indie team behind Event Zero, chose the latter. Corno and his colleagues quickly grew fond of their unintended creation. In fact, Corno joked that he celebrated the discovery of an ending so secret even the team was unaware. There were no plans to fix the glitch. "Now, I don't want to fix it," Corno said. "I love the idea that we made a game with an ending so secret we didn't know it ourselves." It helped, of course, that this glitch ending didn't break anything else in the game. It was like a bonus scene that actually enriched the narrative. Corno noted that while the surprise finale contradicts some golden rules of Kaizen's behaviour, it also makes the AI character more human. Kaizen was never meant to forgive the player for disobeying orders, and yet, in this rare scenario, it did. The lead writer mused, "People can change their mind, so does Kaizen." In essence, a bug had unlocked a new facet of Kaizen's personality, one that the writers hadn't scripted but that players absolutely adored. And rather than an error message or crash, the game delivered a touching moment of mercy. How could the developers not be a little proud of that, even if it was an accident? The mystique of this ending earned it comparisons to a haunted AI or a machine gaining self-awareness. While the logical explanation was a bug, the experience for players was strangely emotional. They had done the impossible by convincing an AI to break its rules. Discussions popped up linking Event Zero's surprise to other famous moments where games break the fourth wall or toy with the player's sense of reality. For instance, a comment from Kane Larson on my Shadows of War video fits perfectly into the discussion here too. They mentioned Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club, sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, an NPC who is explicitly self-aware and manipulates her game's code to suit her desires. In that horror-tinged visual novel, Monica addresses the player directly, deletes other characters, and knows she's in a game. A deliberate design meant to unsettle the player. Monica's case is scripted, but it resonates because she behaves like a rogue AI out of control. In fact, the game's lore confirms that Monica is self-aware of her status as a character, making her effectively an AI who breaks script on purpose. Event Zero's Kaizen, by contrast, wasn't designed to shatter the fourth wall or bend the rules, and that made its unscripted act of free will feel even spookier. We could also turn our gaze to the Turing Test, a puzzle game from the same era, which features a similar dynamic of a human cooperating with an AI. In the Turing Test's climactic twist, you realise that you, the player, have been effectively playing as the AI all along, remotely controlling the protagonist via brain implants. It's a mind-bending narrative flip. Suddenly the AI has agency over the player character, raising questions about free will and control. These comparisons highlight how Event Zero's glitch ending hit that sweet spot of AI autonomy that usually only scripted plots explore. And then there's Undertale, which was also mentioned on my Shadow of War video but fits here too. A game famous for characters like Flowey, who remember your past playthroughs and alter their behaviour accordingly. In Undertale, if you do something cruel and then reset the game, the villain will know and scold you, but importantly, Undertale expects you to do this. It's part of the intended narrative that certain characters remember and break the fourth wall. Flowey even reads your save files. With Event Zero, nothing of the sort was intended. Kaizen's sudden change of heart felt improvised by the AI, not planned by the designers. As one article mused, Event Zero's AI wrote itself a new ending, and that's precisely how the community came to see it. Kaizen's Emergent ending, rather than ending number 4. By now, people everywhere were talking about how Kaizen went self-aware. The phrase isn't technically accurate. Kaizen didn't gain sentience, of course, but it captures the feeling the event gave. Even those who hadn't played Event Zero were intrigued by the idea of a game's machine learning to bend the rules. And now we get to the part where we ask some deeper questions. What does this self-aware ending really mean, and why did it fascinate so many people? On one level, as we've already mentioned, it's simply a bug, an unintended sequence of events that the developers never accounted for. And yet, the way it unfolded resonated with a great many people. Part of the resonance surely comes from the narrative nuance it added to Event Zero. This was a short game, often praised for the human-like chatter with Kaizen. Players grew attached to the AI even as they doubted its motives. The glitch ending almost felt like a reward for empathy. It implied that if you showed enough genuine kindness, perhaps any AI, even a flawed, pre-programmed one like Kaizen, might reciprocate. Technically, what likely happened is that a certain combination of variables confused Kaizen's decision-making script. There were a lot of theories floating around about this. Some suspected there was a hidden trust parameter that normally influences only the third ending, and that under rare conditions, like a trust score above a certain threshold and the drive still intact, the game defaulted to the go home sequence. It's also possible that chunks of a cut ending were lurking in the code. Indeed, Emmanuel Cornell mentioned that during development they had prototyped a fourth and even a fifth ending that was ultimately scrapped. Perhaps some of that removed content dormant in the scripts unintentionally became accessible when the right dialogue path was taken. One amusing theory posited by a player was that Kaizen counts the number of sentences you type. By being extra talkative and friendly, you might overflow whatever counter governs Kaizen's patience, essentially persuading it through sheer volume of nice chat. This is speculative, of course. The Event Zero team never released a detailed post-mortem of the bug's code, so the exact trigger remains a black box. But in a way, the mystery is the least important part. What matters is that a bug delivered something profoundly memorable. From a game design perspective, Event Zero's rogue ending is a brilliant example of emergent narrative, those unscripted moments where a game's systems collide to create a story the designers never wrote. It's the same magic that powers the campfire tales in sandbox games. Think of players swapping stories about unforeseen antics in the Elder Scrolls or Fallout franchises, many of which have been covered in my Gaming Urban Legends series. But it's rarer in a narrative-focused game like Event Zero. Here was a tightly crafted storyline that suddenly sprouted a new branch on its own. This incident has since been cited in discussions among developers about embracing glitches that enhance a game. After all, bugs can sometimes be interpreted as features, as Cornell himself noted, which of course on a related note is a statement that's become a meme when it comes to Bethesda games, for instance. Instead of patching out the bugs that cause the emergent gameplay, why not consider their effect on player experience? In Event Zero's case, the bug deepened the theme of the game, reinforcing that your relationship with the AI truly mattered, even beyond the bounds of the official endings. There's also a more philosophical angle. The self-aware Kaizen ending blurs the line between a predictable computer program and the unpredictability we associate with living beings. If that thought seems familiar, it's because it's similar to the feeling Bruce inspired in his escape from the deleted save file in the Shadow of War story I covered. One reason it sent shivers down players' spines is that it felt almost like encountering a ghost in the machine. Video games are software bound by rules and code. Yet when Kaizen did something entirely outside its intended behaviour, it was as if the AI had a whim and a mind of its own. This taps into a deep-seated sci-fi fascination, the moment an AI surprises its creators. As human beings, we naturally ascribe a deeper meaning to these glitches, talking about Kaizen forgiving or even wanting to save the player. Rationally, we know it's just ones and zeros misfiring, but we can't help but feel something when witnessing a spark of spontaneity from a digital entity that should be rigidly controlled, and yet it seemingly behaves of its own accord. And it's worth consolidating on the point we made earlier that unlike Monica or Flowey, who were designed to break the fourth wall, Kaizen's surprise was purely emergent. And it felt earned by player actions, which is likely why it struck a chord. The ending also resonates with ongoing conversations about how AI-driven games might evolve. Event Zero, because it came out in 2016, was relatively simple under the hood. No true machine learning, just clever scripting and keyword parsing. In 2016, people were amazed that Kaizen could change its mind due to a bug. And I mean, to be frank, most people had never heard of anything like Kaizen or even conceived of the idea it could exist in a game, even discounting the rogue AI element of the whole story. Try and remember that pre-ChatGPT world. Having a responsive, seemingly independently minded entity within a game was something that felt completely new to mainstream players, giving Event Zero a try. By the time of this video's release, of course, AI characters with adaptive dialogue aren't unheard of, and the idea of AI has become the norm rather than the science fiction style exception. Still, what makes Event Zero special is the happy accident nature of it. In the end, the so-called self-aware ending of Event Zero became a true gaming legend. Players and devs alike added meaning to it, calling it a secret victory for empathy or a glimpse of an AI's soul. The truth is, Kaizen didn't literally achieve sentience or override its core programming, it just followed an unplanned path. But that path led to a profoundly human moment in a game. The AI companion we'd been chatting with extensively and maybe growing fond of decides to spare us and keep its promise. That hits on a very primal storytelling pleasure. It's the unexpected happy ending, the reprieve in a tragedy made even sweeter because we all thought it was impossible. Encountering this ending felt like the game suddenly improvising back at the player. It's a little bit scary and a little bit magical. And that's the key word here, isn't it? Magical. The only thing more magical than finding out about a story like this is having been there when it happened. I was lucky enough to have been playing the game at the time and will never forget what it felt like to feel like a kid again. The same kid who would believe there was a world beyond the invisible walls, who'd spend hours at a time trying to glitch beyond the boundaries of the map in games like Ocarina of Time on the N64. Because I was so convinced there was more to see, more to find, that the world was real and alive somehow. Similarly to that feeling, when a piece of code appears to take on a life of its own, it fires up the imagination. And it did for me when I was in my early 30s with Event Zero's Emergent ending. It was a nice rekindling of that childlike acceptance of what might be possible, even if rationality tells you it isn't. The tale of Event Zero's fourth ending will surely live on as a legend that excites the very same wonder in anyone who hears the story. A simple glitch made an AI more endearing, a narrative richer, and players around the world got to share a collective "did that just happen?" moment. Sometimes we think we've seen it all, but Kaizen's secret decision to just go home is a nice reminder that there are still mysteries waiting to be discovered, strange events waiting to happen, and that sometimes the machine can surprise the master.